Moving UA Armored Fortress, Protest against Deku, Best Genius Proposal, Uraraka's speech, and much more coming up on this review of My Hero Academia Chapter 323 titled One Step. Page by Page is a series where I go from page to page of a manga chapter and talk about it. And since I've officially caught up on My Hero Academia, I thought of starting this series with this particular manga. An obligatory spoiler warning if you are an anime only of My Hero Academia. Please close this video if you don't want to get spoiled. And before I start this video, if you enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like as it helps me get this video to reach out to more people. And if you like what you're seeing, do subscribe. I try to post at least one video every week, so hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss out on any videos. With that out of the way, here's page by page My Hero Academia Chapter 323. Jumping straight into the chapter, we start with a flashback, which is before the students go out to bring Deku back. We continue where we left off in the previous flashback, with Endeavor and Principal Nezu having a talk with the 1A students. Ida is suggesting that bringing Deku back to UA should be enough to convince the civilians that the security at UA is very strong, since it shows the confidence that they have in the security system when they bring the prime target of the villains, Deku himself, inside the campus. Nezu understands but wants the student to not let their actions be swayed by emotions. As of now, Deku is the most valuable asset for the heroes because of his one-for-all powers. It's because of him that they are able to stand on an equal ground, and given the circumstances, it's risky to have him here. He adds that UA has the best defensive technology in the whole nation, on par with Tartarus, but we all know what happened to that in the previous chapters, which Yaoyorozu points out in the next page, along with the other instances where the UA barrier has been broken. It had become a meme up till that point that the UA barrier upgrades happened to have them breached in the future, all thanks to Nezu. But he says that he himself has worked on the security systems this time. And as we know that his quirk is exceptional intelligence, so if he himself worked on it, then it should be something damn good. He ends the page by saying that this time the UA Armored Fortress can move. This comes as a surprise as the UA campus is fairly large, and moving everything while escaping from the clutches of Shigaraki might be fun to watch. It might be shown in the future. He explains the whole moving fortress in the next few pages. I mean, I got the gist of it, but it would be easier when we see it in action, which I'm hoping we'll see soon. It mainly works on superconducting linear accelerators, and whenever there's an attack, the shelters are moved underground for maximum safety. And by chance, if someone were to attack these systems, they would be left immovable. So Nezu has reinforced the circumference by 3000 steel plates. So in case there is some interference, which might be because of Shigaraki's decay quirk, it will immediately activate the systems. On top of that, these plates are motorized to at least delay the attackers, as they will buy them time to move the shelters to a safe place underground. He adds that this has been adapted in Shiketsuhai as well, and if need arises, they can relocate heroes via the connected routes to the other school. We saw Zero talking about it in the previous chapter too, and we see him in shock in the next panel. And apparently all of this was in works from the cultural festival itself. At that time, they didn't know about Shigaraki's decay propagation, so designing all of this was solely based on Nezu's intuition. It really shows how good his quirk is when it comes to scenarios like this, where they have to think in the future and make decisions. It could also mean that Nezu has some insider info on which could make him the traitor, but I believe that's not the case. In my opinion, it's most probably Hagakure. Nezu concludes the meeting by saying that as of now, the society is one step away from lack of sympathy and understanding. That if they all move together and take the first step towards a path forward, despite the pain that has been around them. He urges the students to do their best and bring Deku back to UA. The flashback ends with Uraraka in the focus in the last panel. And in the next page, we are back to the present where protest against letting Deku inside the campus is going on. This panel of UA building in the background in a darker shade with the people in front of it shouting and protesting looks very grim. We come a long way from the jolly days of the past. And after a long time, we see Deku's mother here. We even see Bakugo's mom stopping her from getting into the crowd. In the next panel, we see Monoma and Eri along with what looks to be Mirio and Nejire in the background. It has been a while since we last saw these characters. Even Kota in the next panel. In the last two panels, we see Uraraka approaching Present Mic, but the boots in the last panel looks to be different, and we see Best Genius. Apparently it was him that proposed everyone to come inside UA for protection. He goes on to explain how they came up with the plan of using Deku as a bait to figure out where the villains were hiding. However, they were only able to catch a few like the ones Deku has been capturing in the previous chapters of this arc. He adds by saying that although Deku is the prime target of All for One, he's also the greatest asset to the heroes. They can't just let him keep on being the bait, fight the opponents continuously, and eventually die of exhaustion. Remember, Deku is the only one who can go against All for One with full power, especially now that he has been mastering the other quirks and using them simultaneously. He's easily a top 3 hero in terms of sheer power. We see Endeavor, Shoto and Hawks in this panel, but I can't seem to find the context behind this panel. Endeavor seems to be in a different outfit, and Shoto seems to have a sad and frustrated expression. There must be something more to it, or it's just another bypassing panel. Best Genius requests the people to allow Deku to rest here, so that they can be well prepared for the battles to come. Some people from the crowd start opposing, reminding Best Genius that it was the heroes that let them down in the first place. And because the heroes failed again, they want them to solely accept the burden of it all, which is handling Deku themselves without letting him inside the campus. That's rich coming from a guy who has done nothing so far. I mean, I get that he is a civilian, but he has no right to talk about heroes not giving their best. They gave it their all against the fight with Shigaraki. Had it not been for them, even the civilians inside the UA would have been in danger. Really goes to show the dark side of the society in that day and age. In this page, I like how the panel outlines are zigzag, portraying the activation of danger sense. It also portrays the anger and opposition that the heroes are receiving from the civilians. Their anxiety is spreading and exploding to the point that they all look so scared and hollow in these panels. Uraraka leaves above the crowd, grabbing Present Mike's microphone. We see her parents at the panel, and here Bakugo seems to watch her, implying that it's her turn now to stand up for her friend. Without wasting much time, she immediately clears up the misunderstanding that it was Deku who left UA because he didn't want to put civilians in danger, and it was the students who brought him back. In Best Genius' explanation, he gave the perspective from the hero's side. Deku might be the greatest asset to the heroes as of now, but he forgot to mention that it was Deku who was keeping the danger away from civilians by volunteering himself on this mission. The crowd stops protesting hearing Uraraka's words. Up until this point, they were seeing Deku as an object, a danger. Uraraka asked the crowd if they had looked at Deku's current state because he left the campus to keep the enemies away. No one noticed how bad of a situation Deku was actually in. In this panel, we see his ripped off costume, the scars, and the face that he has endured on sleepless nights with minimal food, trying to save people outside from the villains running wild. The crowd seems to finally notice all of these as Uraraka shouts how Deku is the one trying to change the situation the most out of anybody here. He keeps moving forward despite knowing the danger he was putting himself into. We even see this lady that Deku saved back in chapter 310. Bakugo adds that even though they have such a sophisticated security system, the civilians seem to be restless. If it were the old Bakugo, he would just be rushing in the crowd and causing havoc. I would have preferred to see that. The chapter ends with Nezu's word that taking the first step is the most difficult part, but he believes that taking one step at a time would lead to the birth of a true hero, one that will surpass All Might himself. Overcoming adversity is one of the traits of being a true hero, and it makes it even more necessary to have it during these times where the villains are on the rise. Another good chapter, I would say. Uraraka got the screen time that she deserved. I felt like it was much needed. My rating for this chapter would be 9 out of 10. I like the fact that Nezu got more screen time in this chapter, explaining the US security system and ending the chapter on a high note. We saw some old characters that we haven't seen in a while, like Kota, Bakugo's mom, Eri, Monoma, etc. Let's see what happens in the next one. I'm guessing they hopefully accept Deku and we can be done with this arc as a whole. I want to see Stain and All Might storyline, or the villain's perspective. What are your thoughts on this chapter? Let me know in the comments below. And if you reached at this point of the video, thank you, I really appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. That helps me get this video to reach out to more people. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.